If your bills are paid, your lights are on, and then you're not behind sa mga bayarin ninyo, and you think you're stable because of that, did you know that a lot of people here in Canada actually think that they're stable, but the reality is they are in a survival mode. And in order to know if you are really stable, keep watching this video until the end. So what the survival mode looks like disguised as stability. First is, as I mentioned earlier, you're not behind on any of your bills. So rent and utilities are paid, and then nobody's calling you for, collections matter. When you have a debt from like a company and you never paid that and they went into collection, so nobody's calling you for that. And then you have some savings, but your savings is just for like a month's worth. You also use your credit strategically. And you can go out sometimes to, shop or, eat out or just go on vacation sometimes. But in reality, if there's one missed paycheck, it breaks everything. Or if there is a rent increase, you are stressed. And if your car breaks down, then you use your credit card. So that's how it looks like when you are actually surviving instead of thinking that you are stable. In short, you're just maintaining your life, you are not actually progressing. However, unfortunately in Canada, this is extremely common because of the high housing cost, and then we're normalizing credits here in Canada, and it's easy to access credits. It's easy to apply and get approved. And then there is what we call buy now, pay later culture. So why does credit actually makes you feel like you're stable instead of thinking na you are really just surviving? Because these credits like credit cards, credit line, you are going to think that you have cash flow, and then it hides your fragility, and also it delays consequences. Because we're thinking, oh, I have some space in my credit card, I'm not maxed out yet, and also I have a credit line which is also there's like half of it left, so I can take out cash anytime I want. So that really feels like you are stable until you are maxed out on your credits. You maxed out your credit cards, and sometimes they tighten these approvals, or their interest rates increase. That's when you think, am I really stable? So here's what real stability looks like. You're not stressed out if suddenly you are being laid off work, or suddenly your boss fires you. Number two is, if there's emergencies happen, your lifestyle doesn't change. So before, if you can get out to eat like once a week, then you can still do that even though there's emergencies, and you don't get to use your credit cards for those emergencies. Number three is, you can still save even though there's nothing exciting happens in your life, like there's no increase in your salary, your paycheck still, stays the same, like nothing is really going on, but your savings are still growing. And this is important, if your decisions are proactive instead of reactive. So you get to decide on things proactively, so you get to decide ahead of time instead of reactively. So for example, winter is fast approaching, and then you realize that maybe you need new set of tires because you have these older tires and it's not for winter, and then you can set a date to buy those set of tires like before winter, instead of thinking we're gonna see if this breaks down, or this is really slippery during the winter, then I will buy a new set of tires. So if you decide proactively instead of deciding once the thing happens, then that means you are actually stable instead of in a survival mode. And ultimately, there's no panic, no scrambling, and no stress every time there's a change in your finances. So you might ask me, how would I know now that I'm really surviving? Because I'm still confused. So these are the things that you need to see if you are not really broken, but you are not just there yet. First is, could you cover 3 months worth of expenses if suddenly you don't get a salary anymore because of layoffs and things like that? Number two is, can you handle rent increase without being stressed out? Because if we're renting, it's quite common, especially these days with inflation, that these landlords just increase the rent like suddenly. Like for example, you are up for renewal with your rental, and then suddenly your landlord says that they will increase the rent for like 10% or 20% more. Can you cover that and renew without being stressed out that you cannot afford the place anymore. Number 3 is common for us Filipinos, where can you cover, like for example, 1,000 or 2,000 in expenses like emergency expense right away without using your credit lines and credit cards. It's common for us Filipinos now. We receive emergency, like sad news from the Philippines that someone in our extended family member was hospitalized. So can you help them? Like send them even $500 or $1,000 without getting stressed out that you don't have this type of money or you don't have savings in order to help them. And last but not the least is very important for your mental health. So ask yourself, can you get unpaid time off work without stressing yourself out that you cannot buy groceries the next month if you don't work, or if you apply for a leave right now without being paid? So those are the things that you need to reflect on in order to really realize if you are just, surviving right now instead of really being stable. So now let's move on to the things that you can do in order to move on from this, survival mode and, get to the level of stability. First is build a real emergency fund. You have to intentionally save. And in my previous video, I mentioned that you have to save or automatically transfer money to your savings account or to an investment account once your paycheck arrives. So you would need to do this automatically inside your bank account. You don't save after paying your bills. You will save before everything else. So that is how you build your real emergency fund. Number 2 is very important and it's very common here in Canada, which is to reduce your reliance on credit. Because a lot of people here, especially, our Filipinos, I have observed this through the years, and, this is also based on my experience, that we were so reliant on our credits. Like anytime we need to buy something, we would use our credit cards, and that is too much reliance on your credits. And this is what we need to avoid. And this third thing, we really applied it as a family here in Canada now, and it's to really lower our fixed expenses like rental payment, car, and like subscriptions. So with rental, we actually found a place na 650 lang per month. So that's really helpful for us. And we also don't have car payment right now because we're still using our original car that we bought brand new in 2013 and still running good. It's still good for winter, so we don't need a new car. And for subscriptions, I have canceled pretty much everything last year. So what's left right now are the things that we always use, and those things that we like use once in 2 months or something, I cancel those because that means that we don't really need those. So to sum up, and remember this, that if everything falls apart once your income stops, then that means that you are just surviving efficiently and you're not actually in a stable mode. And guys, if you'd like to watch more videos about finances or money talks here in Canada, you can watch this playlist right here or here. And thank you so much for watching, and if you would like to support me, you can do so by subscribing or liking this video or even sharing it to someone you know. And I hope to see you again on my next one. Thank you so much.